Good evening. It's Friday night. No gig tonight. Got a gig tomorrow. I'm just down in the music room. I'm just doing a little bit of prep for tomorrow's gig. And yeah, I just thought I'd make a little video. I'll just turn the camera around. There we are. I get asked a lot why I got so many guitars. It wasn't really a conscious decision to start a collection, just that I've been playing for so long that I don't often get rid of them. I've sold a few over the years, but you know, there's been a few that have been with me for a long time. I sometimes can't resist buying another one. But yeah, I'll give you a little tour through the collection as it is at the moment. I did a video a little while ago, well, around about COVID time, all my guitars. It's on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, it's changed a bit since then. I got rid of a few and I bought some more. But anyway, yeah, let's have a quick look. So, right in the corner there. What I'll do is I'll feature each one of these guitars in a bit more depth, one at a time, on future videos if people are interested. So there's a 1983, I think it is, Squier Stratocaster. I think it's an 83, possibly an 84, can't remember. Might be an 84, because it's got the big Squier logo and the small Fender logo. So not quite as valuable as the ones with the big Fender logo, but still a desirable instrument. Based on a 62 reissue, nice guitar. Doesn't get used very much, but yeah, all these guitars get used at some point. I have used that one. It sounds good, plays nice, great traditional Strat. Next we've got a gold Fernandez from the 80s, Fernandez Stratocaster. Fabulous guitar that. I haven't really used that one in anger yet. I did use it on a recording, and yeah, I really like that. It's got a nice vibe, feels good. This one here is a Tokai Strat, very much in the style of the Hank Marvin 1958 famous guitar that he played. I bought that. It was advertised on Facebook locally, really cheap, and it was immaculate. It's like brand new. It's not. It's a few years old. But I thought I was going to be doing some Shadows gigs at one point, and I thought that would be the ideal guitar for it. That plays nice. I haven't done a gig with that one yet. I've had it a few years, but yeah, that's really nice. I believe that Tokai was sued or threatened with a lawsuit with Fender because it was just a bit too close to the Fenders. Here we have a Fender Stratocaster Paisley. That's a Japanese one, I think. I think it's Japanese Fender. Oh, wait a minute. Don't even know my own guitars. See my glasses. Can't see. Let's have a look. Yep. Japan. Yeah, Japanese Paisley Stratocaster. Worth quite a few bob, I think. I think that's quite a valuable instrument, even though it's a Japanese one. People tend to like the Paisley. Now I use that one quite a bit with Glam Rock Band because it had a sort of fancy, gaudy look about it. So yeah, use that a fair bit. Haven't used it for a little while now, but that's a nice sounding guitar. The pickups in it are pretty good. Sounds great. I expected it to have cheap electronics in it, but it seemed pretty good and it plays great. Here we have a 1984 Fender Stratocaster. I bought this off a mate of mine. I used to teach guitar, and he thought he wanted to learn to play jazz. Well, I'm not a jazz guitar player, but I know a few little jazz standards, and he was a complete beginner, so I thought I could set him on his way. And he had this Hutchins big-bodied jazz guitar. Not bad guitar, quite cheap, but good value. Anyway, I've been teaching him for a few months, and he suddenly come out with, I want to play like David Gilmour. So I thought, you got the wrong guitar, really. You really need to get you a Strat. So we went to a local music shop and found this beauty. And it's a little bit road worn, but sounds and plays terrific, really nice. I took it out on a gig. The first time I took it out, what happened was, I mean, he learnt to play a bit of blues and got a few David Gilmour licks. He learnt to play, improvise over Comfortably Numb and that kind of thing. And he bought himself another Strat, and this one was laying in the case. And he said, "Oh, that Strat we went and bought," he said, "it's not getting used. What do you think it's worth?" And I said, "Well, I'll buy it off you." So I had it off him. Well, I took it out on a gig, and on the treble pickup setting, yeah, it was screeching, and this pickup had gone microphonic. So I mean, you can do stuff. You can wax pot them and fix it that way, but I just shoved a Seymour Duncan. I think that's an Alnico Pro 2 in there, if I remember rightly, and that fixed it, and it's a nice sounding pickup. I haven't used that one too much, to be honest with you, but if I want just a standard Strat on a gig, that is one of the guitars I'll take with me. Here we have a Strat Deluxe. I think this is probably about 2006, maybe. I can't remember. I could look up the serial number, but anyway, a few years ago, well, quite a while ago, about 2007, 2008, something like that, I went to the music shop and I bought a brand new one of these. And while I was there, I tried this one out as well, and I really, really liked it. But I had a desire for a traditional Sunburst Strat, and the Strat Deluxe was in there, brand new, and I bought it. But like I say, I tried this one out as well, and I really liked it, but I couldn't justify buying two. Unbeknown to me, I was out with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she sneaked back to the shop and bought it for me and then presented it to me on Christmas morning. So that's got a special place in my collection, and that gets used every now and again. I was using it all the time a few years ago. It's got the S1 switching on it, which gives you a fat sound. A nice guitar. I think they call this Antigua Black or something. I don't know, something like that. It's got a very subtle sparkle in the black, which shows up good under the lights when you're on stage. This guitar here, I've just restrung it. This is a Levinson Blade, which I acquired recently. I have a bit of a history with this guitar. It belongs to a dear departed friend who I saw play this guitar back in the 90s. And when social media took off, we became friends, and I used to tease him about this guitar and say, "Are you going to sell it? Are you going to sell it?" And he said, he'd had this guitar for a long time. This guitar goes back to the early 80s, I believe. And I've actually seen him play this on TV. But he used to say to me, if I ever get rid of it, you'll be the first to know. And yeah, sadly, he passed away this year. And I bought the guitar. But I've just put some new strings on it and cleaned it up. I did use it with the original strings on that he had on there. Didn't really want to take them off, but they needed to be changed. And anyway, I put some new strings on, and I'm going to take that with me tomorrow for tomorrow's gig. So yeah, Levinson Blade. What he did actually is not standard. He's changed the pickups, so it's got. I think this is the original Blade pickup. He's got a Seymour Duncan mini humbucker that he's put in here, and a Seymour Duncan hot rails that he's put in here. It's got a push switch for coil tap for this pickup, and then this seems to be a coil tap for these two, and it also seems to affect the sound of this one. I'm not quite sure what he's done here, but I mean, it makes it for a very versatile guitar. Quite a range of sounds on it, but obviously I'm not quite sure how it's been wired, and of course he's not around for me to ask him, so I'm just going to have to work with it and figure that one out. But yeah, it's nice to have something of his. A great player and a great loss. Anyway, moving on. Here we've got a Chandler Custom. This was built for me by Charlie Chandler. Chandler Guitars in Kew, London. Back in about 2003, I think it was. I don't know if there's a date on it. It just says on the back, built by Chandler for John Beadle. It hasn't got a date on it. I can't remember, but I think it's about 2003. Yeah, this is a great guitar. I came up with the idea of the electrics. I'm sure I'm not the first to come up with it, but this is quite unique. So yeah, it's basically a Strat with a Warmoth neck. It's got Spursel locking tuners at the top, and it's got two humbuckers and a single core EMGs, but they're coil tapped as well, and there's also a 25 dB mid boost. It's all a bit overkill, but that's a very powerful guitar. There's a lot of gain, and I use that guitar now. I hadn't used that guitar for a long time. It wasn't my main guitar when I first had it made, but I didn't use it. Oh, I don't know, for about 10 years. It's been locked away in a case, which is another good thing about this music room that I've just built, because or just had built, because it means I can get my guitars out and look at them and use them and enjoy them and just, you know, have them around to play. So that is that's been put back into service. Recently I joined a rock band in around Cambridge, and this has now once again become my main guitar for that. Now, yeah, there's a lot of Strats here. There's another one. So this is American Deluxe Fat Strat. I believe this is a 1999, if I remember rightly, and it's got a humbucker pickup. This is a fabulous guitar. I actually bought this off a friend of mine, and the idea was, well, he gave it to me to sell. I couldn't sell it for the what we believed it was worth, and in the end, we agreed on a price, and I had it myself. And I just thought perhaps I'll hang on to it for a while and perhaps get rid of it. And I took it out on a gig, and it was absolutely brilliant. Sounded great, played great, just got a great vibe about it. So I mean, this guitar was sitting around in my storage facility for about 4 years, unloved, untouched, and just something I wanted to get rid of. And when I finally took it out and played it on a gig, I was sold. So this is this guitar goes with me along with this one when I go out with a rock band as a backup. But I do pick it up and we do swap them around. Great guitars. Now, yet another Strat. This is this started life in 1988 or 89. The green one, that is the one that, if you've seen photographs of me, you're probably on Facebook or whatever, this is the guitar that I've probably pictured with the most. It's a fabulous guitar, love it. Started off as a Strat Plus, 1989 Strat Plus, I think, with lace sensor pickups. I bought this one off a friend of mine who converted it. He put EMG pickups in. It's got a battery in, it's active. It's got 25 dB mid boost, and was actually the inspiration for the white one when I had the white one made. Just the white one, I wanted humbuckers just to give me that fatter sound. But yeah, this guitar has been used a hell of a lot in a lot of different bands that I play with. Yeah, it's my go-to guitar. It does pretty much everything. Fantastic. Yeah, I won't go into too much detail about it. Like I say, I'll feature these guitars one at a time for anyone that's interested. Yeah, so the reason I have so many guitars, apart from the fact is I just like to have them. These ones up to here are all in regular tuning. The white one is tuned down half a step, as is the burgundy Strat, so they're tuned down half a step. That's another good excuse for having a lot of guitars, because some gigs, some bands I play with, they tune down half a step to give you that sort of fatter sound. It always sounds better down tuned a little bit, and also it helps the vocals. If some of the songs are a little bit high. So yeah, there's a couple of bands I play with where we tune down a little bit. So it's nice to not have to keep tuning guitars up and down. So those two guitars there, they stay in E flat tuning. The other Strats are all standard tuning. And also, if you're tuning down half a step, sometimes I like to go up a gauge in strings. So they're set up. Those two guitars now are actually set up for E flat tuning. Here we have a homemade Telecaster type guitar that my dad built me. That was made out of the old bathroom door. It's all mahogany. Dad was something of a woodworking enthusiast and very good at it. He was too, and he made all the internal doors at his house, and he made a bathroom door out of mahogany. He made all the doors out of mahogany. The bathroom door bowed. I think he told me that the wood wasn't fully seasoned when he made it, so he scrapped the door and then built a new one, and then just chucked the door outside with all the other mahogany that he had, and it seasoned, and then he made me this guitar out of it. And that was my main guitar throughout the 80s for quite a few years. I played a lot of gigs with that. It's it's not quite unplayable now, but it needs quite a lot of work. There's a lot of fret buzz. The electric's a bit crackly. Hasn't been used in a long time, but I will actually get around to sorting that out. This one is my Paisley Telecaster. That's the one I used for the Elvis theatre show. I've featured that one before. I'll go into more detail. That basically started life as a Japanese Fender, and I took it all apart, took everything off it, replaced it, the neck and everything. The only original part of that is the body and the paint job. So I put a different neck on it, different electrics, hardware, everything. And now it just feels better for me to play. Here we have a Millennium Fender Telecaster. It's come out, and my friend bought this in 2000. And it never left the house. He barely played it. I bought it off him in 2016, and it still had all the cellophane on it. So it was like a 16-year-old brand new guitar by the time I got it. Unfortunately, he's unable to play anymore. He's got arthritis. So I bought his guitars off him, and this was one of them. And this one is in E flat tuning as well, because I use this with the same couple of bands that I play with that tune down to E flat. So that one's in E flat tuning, and I think it's got slightly heavier gauge strings on to compensate. So yeah, so I use that in E flat. This Telecaster was the first Telecaster I bought, brand new in 2005. It's a Highway 1 with Texas special pickups. What to say about that? It's a fantastic guitar, and I haven't played it for a few years now, but I've just started to take it back out again. That's in standard tuning. This is a 1971 Fender Telecaster that I bought off a guitar student of mine. I think he's in his early 80s now, gave up playing. And he said he wanted it to go to a good home, so gave me first refusal of it, and I picked it up, played it, and thought, yeah, gotta have that, so I bought that. That gets taken out occasionally. Here we have a Russian guitar. This is called a Canonikine. I can't remember the model name now, but very unusual guitar. I saw this advertised on Facebook, and the guy advertising it only lived down the road. He had an endorsement with him. He was with a heavy metal band that got some record deal, and he got an endorsement with these guys. And yeah, he didn't get on with it, so I bought it for a song. It didn't really cost me much at all. I haven't used it yet. but I just got it because it was cheap and it was unusual, and I thought it'd be a bit of a talking point. Here we have the Flying V, made by Vintage. I believe they may have been threatened with some kind of lawsuit by Gibson because it was pretty close to the Gibson Carina flight. It's a Carina model. It's absolutely fantastic. This is down tuned to E flat as well. So I play that with one of the rock bands. And I can only really play this guitar when I'm wearing a wig. I just don't think it looks right on an old guy. But yeah, it's a good posing guitar. Sounds really good. Plays nice. Absolutely useless if you're sitting down, but yeah, it's a good posing guitar. That. Here I've got an Echo acoustic nylon string. Classical guitar. I went away for a few days with my wife and our friends and their children to a glamping site up in Norfolk, and the idea was me and my friend, she's a singer, we were going to do the old singing around the campfire thing and make a video. But I left my guitar at home and I hadn't realised till we were halfway there. So I found a music shop about a mile away and we walked up there, and I just bought this for a real bargain price just so that we could sit around the campfire. And the intention was to just put it up for sale, maybe sell it to one of my guitar students. It didn't really cost me that much, but I actually really liked it, so I hung on to it. We've got a bouzouki. This is one of the Greek style bouzouki's that my wife bought me for my birthday. I did play around with it for a while. It's got it sounds nice. It's an electroacoustic model. I'm not sure I'd ever use it to perform, but it's nice to fiddle around with. I've got myself a balalaika as well. And then over here I've got my trusty Ovation electroacoustic nylon string. Yamaha. Oh, I never remember what the model is. Oh, I can't remember. I can't see. Yamaha acoustic electric nylon string. And this one's got a microphone inside as well as a pickup. Sounds absolutely great. It's got a little mixing knob on the side where you can blend the microphone and the pickup. Sounds fantastic. Here we've got my custom made steel string electroacoustic made for me by Richard Bartram. Lovely guitar that. I've used that quite a lot live and in the studio. Really is a work of art. That plays beautifully. Back over to this wall in the corner, I've got my Hohner Jack bass, which I've never played. I bought it during COVID, but I've always wanted one, and I just thought it would come in handy when I actually get around to doing some recording. My Steinberger headless. Can't really see it with that. I always wanted one of these. They were sort of all the rage in the 80s. That's a great guitar. This was my main guitar for quite a few years. I had a regular job working for a corporate organisation. I was working night shift, and back then we didn't really have internet. I don't think internet was a thing. I saw this advertised in It was the Anglia Free Ads in yellow paper, and it was down in Ilford in London, and I had just about enough money to buy it. They were expensive back then, and I remember finishing a night shift and going my wife to drive me down to London straight after work, no sleep, after doing a night shift, to buy it. And yeah, only tends to get played around the house at the moment, unless I get like a specific 80s gigger. I think I'll tell you what I used to use that for a lot was if I did fly gigs, if I had to go abroad, because it was great to just chuck in the overhead locker and no one ever questioned it because it's only about the size of a tennis racket. Yeah, so we've got the here we've got the Washburn electroacoustic. That's a bit of a workhorse. That gets used a lot. I've got an acoustic unplugged trio, which I use that with a lot, and if I ever need an acoustic guitar on a gig or theatre gig or something like that, that's the one that goes with me. That's absolutely brilliant. I've got my Gibson L4 Gibson L4 jazz guitar. I did use that for quite a lot. I did use that on the Elvis show when we did the 68 comeback special. Oh, twang. Because that was the closest thing I had to Scotty Moore had a CS 400, was it? And this looked a bit like it, so that's what I used to use for that. And I used to have a little jazz trio. We had a residency years ago, and up at Centre Parks actually, and other places we used to play, and I used to use that guitar. Epiphone Riviera with three. Is this a Riviera? Can never remember. Yeah, Riviera P93 with three P90s and a Bigsby. Bought that for peanuts, actually. I bought it off a guy. I don't know if you can see on with that light behind. You can see on the headstock there. He had it leaning up against his amplifier, and the amplifier caught fire and singed it. As a result, he sold it quite cheap. And I use that when I do the Beatles tribute. It's not a Gretsch, but from a distance, it's got the right look. And this is my Gibson 335 1987. This is a 58 reissue. I shall be using that in a couple of weeks' time. I've got a Carpenter's show to do, so that'll be ideal for that. Tony Peluso, the guitarist from the Carpenters, used a 335, so that's what I'm going to use. And I will take my Epiphone Dot along as a backup, which I got for silly money. It just didn't really cost me much at all. This was another Facebook purchase, and I'll tell you what, for the money, it's an absolute blinder of a guitar. Absolutely great. Here we have a Firebird, but not a Gibson. This is a Tokai Firebird. And I have to say, it's an absolute gem. At the fraction of the cost of a Gibson. All gold hardware. Strange guitar, really big guitar, quite long, quite a bit neck heavy. But certainly got a look about it. That one's down tuned as well, down tuned to E flat. that gets used in one of the rock bands I play with. Here we have a vintage V100 3 pickup. I've only used this a couple of times. It's an insane guitar for the money. I mean, I think this was under 300 quid brand new. And, you know, you can't go wrong. You just cannot go wrong at that price. It sounds great. It plays great. I might drag that one out next. I've got a gig next week where I might use that. Another vintage V100. This is a fabulous guitar. I use this one quite a lot with one of the rock bands. This one's tuned down to E flat as well, so it's got slightly heavier strings on. Now it plays like a dream. I mean, I just can't praise these vintage guitars enough for the price. Absolutely amazing. And here we have a 1971 Les Paul Custom. Now I've got to say, when you look at that Les Paul Custom and what you'd have to pay to get a guitar like that, and then compare it to the vintage V100s behind it, you play them back to back and you kind of wonder where the price difference is, honestly. Anyway, here we have my 1987 Gibson SG Standard. Love this guitar. It's absolutely great. Again, tuned down to E flat. I like this one particularly because it's got the jack socket on the edge. You've got your jack lead poking out the front like on a lot of SGs. I think apart from that, I think this, I don't really know that much about SGs, but I think this one is supposed to be like a 61, based on a 1961. Any SG experts out there, maybe comment, let me know what you think. This is my PRS Custom 24. Doesn't get used an awful lot, although I've just restrung it and I'm going to use it for tomorrow's gig. It is a lovely guitar, and I was falling out of love with it a little bit till I put some new strings on it. And yeah, I'm back in love with it again. So that's going with me tomorrow. Washburn Falcon from 1979. Bit well used. This was my main guitar back in those days. You can see it's got the old buckle rash. Haven't played this guitar in about 20 years. But I will actually strip it down and give it a good old going over. Give it a setup and a new set of strings, because I mean it was, back in the day when I had this guitar, it was amazing. The sustain on it was unbelievable. And I think it's to do with the through neck construction. But the bridge is mouldy. There's so much sweat over the years. I played this guitar to death. All the screws are like all corroded. But yeah, so that will probably get a bit of TLC sooner or later. Another guitar that I played to death in the 80s and 90s, the Ibanez RG550. This is a very early one. I bought this, when did I buy this? Mid-80s, I think. No, this is, I believe this is an 89. No, that's right. I believe this is an 89, because I bought it in 91 and it was a couple of years old. It's got a Jackson whammy on it. That's been changed. And I put a Roland guitar synthesizer on it. You can see how much I played that guitar. Here we have a Parker Fly Mojo. Is it a Mojo? I think it is. Mahogany body, Seymour Duncan pickups. These locking tuners. It's got a composite neck on it, and it's got the acoustic pickup under the bridge as well. I did have the Parker Fly Classic, the through neck body blue one, which weighed about as much as a feather. Great guitar, and I did use it for quite a lot of gigs. And then I got this one in 2007, brand new, and I liked it so much that the other one didn't get played, so the other one got sold. That's that. Here we have my Godin, or whatever you call it. It's got a broken string, nylon string electric with synthesizer output on it. I think it's not very good light. So that goes into my Roland synthesizer as well. Now this is a lovely guitar. I use this a hell of a lot. If I ever need to get that nylon string acoustic sound in a theatre or on a stage or whatever, this is ideal. Don't get any feedback or anything like that. It's about the size of an electric guitar, so it's not cumbersome. The only thing about this guitar is that I've opted for the thin neck, which is the same sort of dimensions as an electric guitar, which made it quite difficult to play classical styles on. So, perhaps I should have gone for one with a slightly wider neck. So string spacing is quite close together. But, nevertheless, it gets used an awful lot. It was one of the best purchases I've ever made. And here are my Martin acoustic, 000X1 Auditorium with a solid spruce top. It's got a composite neck, composite back and sides. One of the cheaper Martins, but absolutely fantastic. Beautiful sound, plays lovely. This was my dad's guitar when my dad passed away. My mum gave this to me. Really lovely guitar, and it's signed by Tommy Emmanuel. I was lucky enough to meet Tommy, and he played this guitar and he signed the back of it. So he gave me a few tips. Yeah, lovely guitar that. And here is my dad's double neck Antoria. We had two of these. He went and bought two, one for him, one for me. Yeah, sorry about that. The battery went out on the phone. Yeah, I was just talking about the Antoria double neck. I think this was called an Antoria Gemini 6. So we had two of these. I had the one with the bass and the guitar, because I used to play a bit of bass as well as guitar in my mum and dad's band, with my uncle on the drums. And Dad used to play 12 string. So we got matching guitars. I mean, I sold mine. years later. And then this, I inherited this off my mum and dad. And it's still got, I think that's one of Dad's plectrums still stuck in it. Here's a few strings missing off the 12 string. I will get around to sorting this out. I can't see me using it live at any point anymore. It weighed a ton. I was only about 14 when we got these. I used to stand up for, I don't know, we used to play from 8 o'clock till 1 in the morning with a couple of breaks. And I remember doing a gig many years later. I was in my 20s and I dragged my double neck out for the gig because I had to play a bit of bass and a bit of guitar. And nearly killed me. And to think I used to stand on stage for all that time at the age of 14. But yeah, played a lot of gigs with these two double necks. Anyway, that's it from the music room this evening. I need to go to bed. I've just been messing about with the Kemper. Got my new Kemper cab here. I can't really move the phone much because I've got it plugged in. But yeah, I'll do a proper little tour around the music room at a later date and perhaps look at some of these guitars in a bit more detail. Yeah, hope you've enjoyed a little tour around my collection. And any questions, let me know. And yeah, see you soon. Good night. Sleep tight. Cheers.